AFR Talk. You're listening to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. Focal Point with Brian Fisher.
Hi, and welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. You are listening to high definition radio here on Focal Point. More content per cubic inch of air than any other place on your radio dial. Talking here about the accusations that have come to light last night and this morning from Pastor Stevie Fielder, who is associate pastor at First Union Missionary Baptist Church in Mississippi, publicly making accusations that he was paid to buy votes. He was given money to use in turn to go and buy votes for Senator Thad Cochran in the African-American community in the runoff on June 24. Now, Senator Cochran's office has issued a blanket denial saying these are false allegations. And we're going to talk to Chad Groening, a reporter for One News Now, in just a moment. He's been in contact with Senator Cochran's office. We'll get the latest from them. But I want to play the last two sound bites from Pastor Fielder and his accusations. And again, we want to be clear, these are his accusations. Charles Johnson saying there's more information to come. He believes there are going to be other black pastors who are going to come out who are going to corroborate Pastor Fielder's story. Right now, all we have is Pastor Fielder. Now, one of the things that lends credibility to his story in my mind is it fits with the other things that we know to be true about the dynamics in this campaign. We know that there was walking around money that was given to black pastors. We know about the racist robocalls. We know about the racist radio ads. We know about the racist flyers that were distributed, and this would fit with all that dynamic. It's not proof, but it's consistent with what we know was going on in this campaign. Two more sound bites. Again, Pastor Fielder promised, he says, $16,000 by the Cochran campaign to buy votes. He did his job. They didn't pay up, and that is why he has gone public with these accusations. Here is clip number 6. Let's listen.
I'm supposed to be getting paid for what I do.
And what did they say they'd pay you for being the intermediary in this scheme?
$16,000.
$16,000. And when you went to pick up the vote money for the voters, did you ask about your $16,000 you were promised?
Well, they wanted to wait till after the election on Tuesday and see how the votes turn out in the black neighborhood.
I see. Was your payment dependent on Cochran winning?
Yeah.
And since he won, have you not gone back and asked for your money?
Yeah.
And what happened?
Didn't get anything.
What was his excuse not to pay?
Oh, they just said that they didn't promise me that kind of money and all of that.
When you say they, you mean Salim, or did you talk to somebody else?
Salim, I've talked to several of them, Kurt, Amanda, and they said that, and all of these are people that's in the, Kurt is supposed to be over the campaign itself.
Did you talk to him?
Yes.
And did you explain that Salim delivered cash?
I explained to them what he said, and they told me that they didn't owe me but $300.
Now let's play clip number 6, the next clip in the roster, and then one more after that.
Okay, now I got to ask you again, Reverend. You seem like a normal person. You know the difference between right and wrong. I'm from Tennessee.
Yeah.
I know the difference between I'm a small town America. There's no BS in small town America. How did you feel about participating in a scheme to buy votes? How did you feel about that?
Well, now look, what I did was I did a job which they said would keep a racist out of the office.
Right.
And we want to try to deal with people that's going to be working for all people. And they made it, they sold me on the fact that, he was a racist. And that the right thing to do was to keep him out of office.
Got it.
That's what I was sold on. I was not sold on $16,000. I was sold on he was a racist. And the people really needed the money for gas and all type of stuff where they normally wouldn't do it, and this is an incentive that we are offering to get them to go on out and do this.
So that's Pastor Fielder saying, look, I was motivated because I wanted to keep Chris McDaniel out of office because he was a racist. I was told he was a racist. Pastor Fielder says, as I began to get more information, I realized that wasn't true. I'd been indoctrinated, brainwashed to believe that Chris McDaniel was a racist. It turned out he wasn't, and that's why I did it. I thought I was doing a good thing. I thought it was keeping a racist out of the United States Senate. One last clip, clip 7. Let's listen.
What did they say?
Oh, pretty much trying to get with me to make straighten things out.
Is it because you were making noise about not getting paid?
Yes, and that I didn't think that we had done right.
Okay, and what did they say? What did they offer to do to make it right?
Well, they just told me they would get with me this week about the pay, but definitely there ain't nothing they could do about the done right, because I got on them pretty bad, and I just told them, that I didn't think that he should have been won the election, and I did.
Did they make an appointment to talk with you during this week by phone, or what were they trying to do?
This week they wanted me to come over to the office.
Oh, to come to the office? Okay.
Yeah, they were going to call me, Celine, and tell me when.
They asked you to delete your emails?
Yeah, to my phone.
Oh, on your phone. But you don't really have any emails. I thought it was just text.
No, it's just text.
Just text.
Very quickly, what did they say made Chris McDaniel a racist?
They just simply said, that he didn't like black people, and that most of his campaign things, they did a lot of racial slurs and all of that. And then, like I said, these are people that I guess they're very good at what they do. When they got you out there talking to you, they got people that I guess they really know how to put the hammer down on somebody, whether it's true or not.
So Pastor Fielder talking about the fact that he was urged, according to him, this is his testimony now, to delete the text messages on his phone. One of those was this text message, came from this Salim Baird. It says, this is his text to Pastor Fielder, send me individual names and amounts along with home address to Salim at thadformississippi.com, and I'll have money separated in envelopes at the office waiting for you. And as Red State points out, that certainly sounds like it fits with the accusations that Pastor Fielder is making. Now, I want to bring in Chad Groening, who's a reporter here at One News Now, our news site. Chad has been following this story, been talking to Senator Cochran's campaign. And Chad, from what I'm hearing, they are reacting pretty vigorously, maybe even with the threat of legal action.
It's time for the pastor and Mr. Johnson to circle their wagons because the Cochran campaign is prepared to take legal action if they need be. And I will give you a quote. I will be having this. We'll have this on the 3 o'clock newscast in its audio form. And he said, "Let me start off by being absolutely clear. This is Jordan Russell, the communications director, in an interview that he did with me within the last half an hour. He said, these allegations are 100% false. Our campaign has done nothing illegal and will not do anything illegal. And frankly, the people making these accusations, Mr. Fielder and the blogger in question, should probably consider speaking with an attorney because I promise you the campaign is speaking with ours." He went on to say that the Cochran campaign is not going to allow somebody to lie and make such a serious charge without being held accountable for their actions. I talked to him about the emails and talked to him about a number of things, including some of this whole thing about Salim Baird and what that was all about. According to Jordan Russell, those envelopes in question were legitimate envelopes, and he said $25 were put into them to people who simply went door to door. They paid him $25 to go door to door. That's what that email or text message you were talking about moments ago was about. They were strictly, he says they were legitimate campaign paying these people to go door to door, knocking on doors for Thad Cochran. That's what they were.
I had some exchanges with a political strategist, consultant by the name of Rick Shafton, and he said, this kind of thing does go on in campaigns, but it's very, very unusual for cash to be the means of exchange for precisely this reason, that typically what they will do is that they're going to hire somebody to do some work in the campaign. They will write them a check. The taxes are withheld, so there's no cash money being exchanged, which is what you do if you're hiring somebody. Then you've got taxes that you owe on what you pay them. They have taxes that they owe on what they have been paid that must be withheld. If it's a cash exchange, you're kind of missing all of that the paper trail. Did Cochran's campaign talk about that?
Yes, he did. He said categorically, he said that everything we did was on the up and up. He said they have all the documentations, filed with the FEC, all of that stuff. He said that everything was documented, and all the proper steps, procedures, or whatever were taken in giving this money out.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what would be their legal basis of action? Would they be making a slander or a libel?
I think he used the word. We're not going to allow somebody to lie and make such a serious charge without being held accountable. I think the word lie was what he used.
So he was accusing Fielder then of lying.
And also
about...
Johnson. He said, and I asked him, the other gentleman that you had on, the other reporter, he's not going to involve him, or at least he's not the main player. But he said this, Johnson, and Mr. Johnson is the one that they're going to go look into.
Now, I guess I don't know how they could go after Mr. Johnson, because he's just reporting what.
Well,
what Pastor Fielder said.
Those are the words of the Cochran campaign.
Yeah.
Communications director. That's what he's saying.
I don't know. You look at the First Amendment and freedom of the press.
Yeah.
I don't know how they could go after Charles Johnson. I see how they could go after Pastor Fielder if they felt that he was lying and
but I think there are laws
misrepresenting them.
But if a reporter is reporting false things, I mean, journalists.
Well, yeah,
journalists can get sued if they're reporting things that aren't true. And,
if if a reporter knows they're not true, but Charles Johnson seems to me to be convinced that Pastor Fielder is a credible witness.
And there's other things too that Jordan Russell said about this individual, Mr. Johnson too. He was kind of involved in the story involving the photographs of Senator Cochran's wife. There's been some connection with that. I don't want to get into that completely, but he said that was something else that was. So he.
All right. Well, thank you, Chad, for stepping in, give us an update. We'll have a lot more, obviously, on this story in the coming days. We have not heard the last of this, and we trust that by God's grace, the truth will be emerged for everyone to see. Focal Point AFR Talk. We'll be right back after the news. Stay with us.